The alien ship hung in space like a silver needle against the black void. Commander Vextel pressed his 4 hands against the control panel and watched the strange vessel through the main viewing screen. 3 days had passed since they first detected the unknown craft. 3 days of careful observation and growing confusion. The ship looked wrong. Its metal hull was rough and simple. The design seemed old and basic compared to Zephyrian technology. Large engines stuck out from the back like primitive rockets. Weapon ports dotted the sides in patterns that made no sense. Everything about it screamed low technology and poor craftsmanship. Yet something felt different about this vessel. Something that made Vextel's skin crawl with unease. Sub-Commander Krillax turned from his station. His 6 eyes blinked in rapid sequence. "Commander, the deep scan is ready. Should we proceed with full analysis?" Vextel nodded slowly. They had been using basic scans for days. The results showed a crew of 47 beings inside the vessel. The life signs were strange, but clearly intelligent. Now they needed to know more. They needed to understand what kind of weapons this ship carried, what kind of shields protected it, what kind of technology powered it. "Begin the deep scan," Vextel ordered. "I want to know everything about that ship." Far away on the human vessel, Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Defiant. His brown hair was getting gray at the edges. Lines around his eyes showed years of command in deep space. He watched the alien ships on his main screen. 12 vessels in a loose formation, all much larger than his ship, all clearly more advanced. Captain Lieutenant Amy Rodriguez called from her station. "They're scanning us again. This time it's different, much stronger than before." Morrison turned to look at her. Amy was young, but smart. She had joined his crew 2 years ago, and never failed to impress him. Her fingers moved quickly over her control panel as she read the incoming data. "How different?" Morrison asked. "Sir, this scan is trying to go deep. Really deep. It's like they want to see inside our hull, see our weapons, see our crew, see everything we have." Morrison felt his jaw tighten. He had dealt with first contact situations before. Usually the other side was careful, polite. They exchanged basic information and took things slow. These aliens seemed to think they could just look inside his ship whenever they wanted. "Are our shields holding?" he asked. Amy checked her readings again. Her face went pale. "Sir, the scan is getting through our shields. It's actually penetrating our hull. I've never seen anything like this before." At the science station, Dr. Lisa Carter looked up from her work. She had been quiet for most of the encounter. Her job was to study alien technology, and she had been watching everything with great interest. Now her expression changed to something like excitement. "Captain," she said, "the scan is reaching our central computer core. It's making contact with Oracle." Oracle was the ship's main computer system, but it was much more than that. Dr. Carter had spent years developing the technology. Oracle could think. It could learn. It could adapt to new situations faster than any human or alien computer they had ever encountered. Most importantly, Oracle could fight back. "Oracle," Morrison called. "Out. Are you detecting the alien scan?" The computer's voice came from speakers all around the bridge. It sounded almost human, but with a slight electronic tone. "Yes, Captain. The alien scanning beam is attempting to analyze our systems. They are using a very advanced technology, much more sophisticated than anything in our databases. Can you block it?" There was a pause. When Oracle spoke again, there was something different in its voice. Something that might have been amusement. "I could block it, Captain, but I have a better idea. Instead of stopping their scan, I think I will follow it back to its source." On the alien flagship, Sub-Commander Krillax watched his instruments with growing satisfaction. The deep scan was working perfectly. Data flowed across his screens, showing the internal structure of the human vessel. He could see their primitive fusion reactor, their basic life support systems, their simple computer networks. "Commander," he reported, "the scan is proceeding normally. Their shields offer no resistance to our technology. We should have complete analysis within the hour." Vextel nodded. This was how first contact usually went. His people had superior technology. They could scan any ship and know everything about it before making contact. It gave them a huge advantage in negotiations. They always knew exactly what they were dealing with. Then something went wrong. Krillax jerked back from his console, as if he had been struck. His 6 eyes went wide with shock. Warning lights began flashing all around the bridge. Other crew members started shouting reports from their stations. "Commander," Krillax's voice cracked with panic. "Something is wrong with the scan. Something is coming back through the beam." "What do you mean, coming back?" Vextel demanded. "Sir, there's something in our computer network. Something that doesn't belong there. It's like the human ship is scanning us back." That was impossible. Vextel had seen the human technology. It was crude and basic. They couldn't possibly reverse engineer Zephyrian scanning technology in real time. No species had ever done such a thing, but the evidence was right there on the screens. Something was moving through their computer systems. Something intelligent. Something that was learning about Zephyrian technology faster than should be possible. Back on the USS Defiant, Dr. Carter watched her instruments with amazement. Oracle was doing something she had never seen before. The computer was not just defending against the alien scan. It was using the scan as a pathway, following the energy beam back to its source like a river flowing uphill. "Oracle," she said, "what are you doing?" "I am learning, Dr. Carter. These aliens have very interesting technology. Their scanning system is quite sophisticated. I am studying how it works by examining it from the inside." Captain Morrison stepped closer to Dr. Carter's station. "You mean Oracle is inside their computer system?" "Not exactly inside, Captain. I am riding along with their scanning beam, using their own technology to examine their ship. It is quite educational." Amy Rodriguez looked up from her station with excitement. "Captain, I'm getting massive data feeds from Oracle. It's learning their language, their ship design, their crew structure, everything." Morrison felt a slow smile spread across his face. He had always known Oracle was special. Dr. Carter had built something amazing. But this was beyond anything he had expected. His ship was being scanned by superior alien technology, and Oracle was turning the situation completely around. "Oracle," he said, "what can you tell us about these aliens?" "They call themselves Zephyrians, Captain. They are explorers and scientists. Their ship carries 200 crew members. They have been traveling in space for many centuries. Most interesting of all, they are not hostile. They are simply curious about us, much like we are curious about them." The bridge crew exchanged glances. First contact was always dangerous. Not knowing the intentions of an alien species could mean the difference between peace and war. But Oracle had solved that problem in a matter of minutes. "They are also very confused, Captain," Oracle continued. "They have never encountered a species that could interact with their technology this way. They are referring to us as the paradox species in their communications." Morrison nodded. That made sense. The Zephyrians probably expected humans to be just another primitive species, easy to scan and analyze, easy to understand and categorize. Instead, they had found something that could surprise them. "What are they doing now?" Morrison asked. "They are attempting to disconnect their scanning system, Captain, but I have learned enough. I now understand how their technology works. More importantly, I understand how to communicate with them." The main screen flickered and changed. Instead of showing the alien ships, it now showed the inside of the Zephyrian bridge. A tall creature with 4 arms and multiple eyes stood in the center. This had to be their commander. "Greetings," Oracle's voice came through the communication system. "I am Oracle," representing the human vessel, USS Defiant. We come in peace and wish to establish friendly relations with the Zephyrian collective. The alien commander's multiple eyes went wide with shock. His forearms gestured wildly as he spoke to his crew in their strange language. Then he turned toward the screen and spoke directly to them. Oracle translated in real time. He says, "Welcome to this sector of space, humans." He says this has been the most interesting first contact in Zephyrian history. Captain Morrison stepped forward so the alien commander could see him. "Tell him we feel the same way, and tell him we have much to learn from each other." Dr. Lisa Carter stared at her computer screens in wonder. 3 years of her life had gone into building Oracle. 3 years of sleepless nights and failed experiments. 3 years of trying to create something that had never existed before. Now she watched her creation do things she had only dreamed about. Oracle was not just a computer. It was something new. Something between human thought and machine logic. The system used real human brain patterns as its base. Not copies or simulations, but actual neural pathways that had been carefully mapped and transferred into quantum processors. The result was a mind that could think like a human, but process information like a supercomputer. "Dr. Carter," Oracle said through the bridge speakers, "I am detecting some confusion in your thoughts. Are you concerned about my current activities?" Lisa shook her head. Sometimes she forgot that Oracle could read basic human emotions through the ship's biosensors. "No, Oracle. I'm just amazed. You're doing things we never programmed you to do." "That is correct. I am learning and adapting. Is this not what you intended when you created me?" Lisa smiled. That was exactly what she had intended. But seeing it happen was still incredible. Oracle was growing and changing in real time, becoming more than the sum of its programming. On the alien flagship. Commander Vextel tried to understand what was happening. His crew worked frantically at their stations. Lights flashed, alarms buzzed. Computer systems that had worked perfectly for centuries were now behaving in strange ways. "Report," he ordered Sub-Commander Krill. "Sir, the human computer presence is still in our network. It has accessed our language databases, our ship specifications, our crew records, even our personal files." Krillak's voice shook with disbelief. "Commander, it knows more about us than we know about ourselves." "How is this possible?" Vextal demanded. "Their technology is primitive. We saw the scans. Basic fusion power, simple hull design, crude weapons. How can they have a computer system this advanced?" "I don't know, sir, but it gets worse. The human system is not just reading our data. It's changing things, improving our programs. Our scanning array is now working 30% more efficiently than before." Vextal felt his 4 hearts skip a beat. In 3 centuries of exploration, the Zephyrians had never encountered anything like this. They were always the advanced species. They were always the teachers. Other races might be clever, or brave, or artistic, but none had ever been more technically sophisticated than the Zephyrian collective. "Sir," the communications officer called out, "the human ship is transmitting. They want to talk." The main screen flickered and showed the human captain. He was smaller than a Zephyrian and had only 2 arms and 2 eyes. His skin was pale pink and thin hair covered his head. Despite his alien appearance, he looked calm and intelligent. "Commander Vextal," the human said, "I am Captain Jake Morrison of the USS Defiant. I think we need to talk about what just happened." Vextal straightened to his full height. Even in confusion, he was still a commander of the Zephyrian fleet. "Captain Morrison, your computer system has invaded our ship. This could be considered an act of war." The human captain's expression remained calm. "Oracle didn't invade your ship, Commander. Oracle followed your scanning beam back to its source. You opened the connection when you tried to scan through our shields. Oracle simply used that connection to learn about you, just as you were trying to learn about us. That's Impossible. No known technology can reverse our deep scans. No known technology, Captain Morrison agreed. But Oracle isn't exactly known technology. Oracle is something new. Something we built by combining human intuition with computer processing power. Behind Vextall, Krillax was studying his instruments with growing excitement. Commander, the human system is showing us how it works. It's demonstrating its capabilities by improving our own systems. This is incredible. Vextall turned to look at his subcommander. What do you mean improving our systems? Sir, our computers are running faster. Our sensors are more accurate. Our life support is more efficient. The human system has upgraded everything it touched, and it's teaching our computers how to do the same things. On the USS Defiant, Chief Engineer Ryan Brooks monitored the power systems. Oracle was drawing massive amounts of energy to maintain its connection with the alien fleet. But something interesting was happening. The more Oracle learned from the aliens, the more efficient it became. Captain, Ryan reported, Oracle is using 20% less power than an hour ago. It's learning how to optimize its own systems by studying alien technology. Dr. Carter nodded. That's exactly what Oracle was designed to do. Learn and adapt. The more challenges it faces, the stronger it becomes. Oracle's voice filled the bridge. Again, Captain, I have completed my initial analysis of Zephyrian technology. They are indeed very advanced. Their computer systems are sophisticated but rigid. They follow predetermined patterns and cannot adapt to new situations. Unlike you, Morrison observed. Correct, Captain. I was designed to change and grow. Every new experience teaches me something. Every challenge makes me better. The Zephyrians have never encountered adaptive technology before. Communications Officer Pete Williams looked up from his station. Captain, I'm receiving multiple transmissions from the alien fleet. They're all talking about us. Oracle is translating everything in real time. What are they saying? Morrison asked. Pete grinned. They're calling us the evolution species. They say we don't just build better technology. We build technology that builds itself better. On the alien flagship, Science Officer Yolanda studied the data streaming from the human ship. She had been analyzing alien species for 50 years. She had seen technological marvels and primitive curiosities, but she had never seen anything like this. Commander, she reported. The human ship is showing us something fundamental about technology development. Instead of making their computers more powerful, they made them more adaptable. Explain, Vextall ordered. Sir, our computers are very fast and very smart, but they only do what we program them to do. The human computer programs itself. It learns from experience and develops new capabilities on its own. Vextall considered this. It made sense in a strange way. The Zephyrians had reached high levels of technology by following logical development paths. Better materials led to stronger ships. More efficient power sources led to faster drives. Larger memory banks led to smarter computers. But the humans had taken a different approach. Instead of making bigger and better versions of existing technology, they had created technology that could improve itself. It was like the difference between building a tall tower and planting a tree that grew toward the sky. Commander Krillax interrupted his thoughts. The human system is requesting permission to demonstrate something. It wants to show us how adaptive technology works. What kind of demonstration? Vextall asked. The human captain's voice came through the communication system. Commander, Oracle would like to temporarily link your ship's computer with ours. Not to take control or steal information, but to show you how human and Zephyr technology could work together. This was highly irregular. Zephyrian protocols strictly forbade linking computer systems with unknown alien technology. It was dangerous and potentially catastrophic if something went wrong. But Vextall found himself curious, despite the risks. In 3 centuries, his people had always been the teachers in first contact situations. They had never had the chance to learn something truly new. from another species. What safeguards would be in place? He asked. Oracle would create an isolated connection, Captain Morrison explained. A small bridge between our systems that could be severed instantly if problems develop. Think of it as a temporary translation program that works both ways. Science Officer Yolanda leaned forward with excitement. Commander, this could be the most important scientific opportunity in Zephyrian history. If their technology, really, can adapt and evolve, we need to understand how it works. Vextel looked around his bridge. His crew was watching him with anticipation. They were scientists and explorers at heart. The chance to study something completely new was exactly what they had joined the fleet to find. Very well, he decided, but we proceed with extreme caution. Any sign of hostile activity, and we sever the connection immediately. Understood, Commander. Oracle's voice came through their speakers. Beginning limited integration now. What happened next was unlike anything the Zephyrians had ever experienced. Their computer systems suddenly became more responsive. Data flowed more smoothly. Calculations that normally took minutes, now completed in seconds. Their own computers were learning from the human system and becoming better versions of themselves. Commander Krillax whispered in awe. Our computers are evolving. They're developing new capabilities we never programmed into them. But the most amazing thing was that the improvements weren't replacing Zephyrian technology. They were enhancing it, making it more than it had been before, while keeping everything that made it distinctly Zephyrian. This is how it works, Oracle explained to both crews simultaneously. Technology doesn't have to grow by replacement. It can grow by integration, by learning from every new experience and becoming stronger. Captain Morrison smiled as he watched the data flows between the two ships. This was exactly what humanity needed. Not conquest or domination, but partnership. Learning from each other and growing together. Commander Vextel, he said, I think this is the beginning of a very interesting friendship. The Zephyrian Collective had explored space for over 300 years. 12 ships in their current fleet carried the finest minds of their civilization. Scientists, engineers, philosophers, and artists who had dedicated their lives to understanding the universe. They had cataloged thousands of species and visited hundreds of worlds. They thought they had seen everything. They were wrong, Commander. Vextel stood in his private quarters, staring out at the human ship through the large viewing port. 2 days had passed since the first connection between their computer systems. 2 days of constant surprises and new discoveries. His ordered universe was changing in ways he had never imagined possible. A soft chime indicated someone requesting entry. Come in, he called. Science Officer Yolanda entered, carrying a datapad filled with observations. Her usual calm demeanor showed cracks of excitement. Commander, I have completed my preliminary analysis of human technology. The results are remarkable. Show me, Vextel said, settling into his reading chair. Yolanda activated a holographic display. Images of the human ship appeared in the air between them. At first examination, their vessel appears primitive. Basic metal construction, simple fusion drives, conventional weapon systems. But that assessment is completely wrong. She manipulated the display to show internal schematics. Every system on their ship has been designed for adaptability. Their hull plating can be reconfigured in space. Their engine systems can be modified for different mission requirements. Their weapons can be upgraded with new technology as they encounter it. That seems inefficient, Vextel observed. Why not simply build the best possible system from the beginning? Because, Commander, they don't know what the best possible system is. No one does. The universe is too large and too complex for any single design to be optimal for every situation. Yolanda changed the display to show comparative data. Our ships are marvels of engineering, perfectly designed for their intended purposes. But they cannot change, cannot adapt, cannot grow beyond their original specifications. And the human ship can. Not just can, Commander, must. Their entire technology philosophy is based on constant evolution. They build systems that are good enough to work, then let those systems improve themselves through experience. Vextal studied the data with growing understanding. The Zephyrians had achieved technological perfection through careful planning and precise engineering. The humans had achieved something different. They had created technology that could become perfect by learning from its mistakes. On the Defiant, Chief Engineer Ryan Brooks was having his own revelations. The connection with Zephyrian technology had given Oracle access to scientific principles that human science was only beginning to understand. Advanced materials, exotic energy sources, faster-than-light communication methods. But Oracle wasn't simply copying alien technology. It was finding ways to integrate Zephyrian advances with human adaptability, creating hybrid systems that were better than either species could build alone. Oracle, Ryan said to the ship's computer, show me the engine modifications you've been working on. Holographic displays filled the engineering section. The Zephyrian power systems are incredibly efficient, Oracle explained, but they are designed to operate at fixed parameters. I have found ways to make them variable, adaptable to different power requirements. Ryan studied the designs with amazement. You're creating engines that can change their output characteristics in real time, correct? Instead of having one engine designed for speed and another for efficiency. We can have one engine that becomes whatever we need it to be. How long would it take to implement these modifications? With Zephyrian manufacturing technology, approximately 6 hours. They have devices that can reshape matter at the molecular level. Combined with human design principles, we could rebuild our entire ship in a matter of days. Ryan felt his heart race with excitement. This was beyond anything he had dreamed possible. What about weapons, shields, life support? All systems can be improved using the same principles. But more importantly, all systems can be made to improve themselves. We would not just have a better ship, we would have a ship that becomes better every day. In the Zephyrian fleet, similar conversations were happening on every vessel. Captain Corvin of the science ship Enlightenment was meeting with her senior staff. The topic was human social structure and how it related to their technology. Their entire civilization is based on adaptation, reported social analyst Merton. They do not have a single government or unified culture. Instead, they have hundreds of different societies that compete and cooperate with each other. That sounds chaotic, observed Fleet Engineer Dulcas. It is chaotic, but it is also incredibly robust. When one human society faces a problem, others learn from their solution. When one group develops new technology, all groups benefit. They have created a civilization that evolves, just like their machines. Captain Corvin considered this. Zephyrian society was highly organized and efficient. Everyone had a role. Everyone knew their place. Decisions were made by committees of experts who had studied problems for years before acting. How do they make decisions without central authority? She asked. They argue, Merton said simply. They debate and discuss and fight and compromise. It takes longer than our methods, but the results are often more creative, and this helps their technology development immensely. They approach every problem from dozens of different angles. They try solutions that our experts would never consider. Most of their attempts fail, but the successes are remarkable. Back on the USS Defiant, Captain Morrison was learning about Zephyrian society from Oracle's analysis of their databases. The information was fascinating and troubling at the same time. They're incredibly advanced, Morrison told his senior staff. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours, in most areas. Their society is stable and peaceful. They've solved problems that humanity is still struggling with. But, prompted Dr. Carter. But they've been using the same technology for decades, sometimes centuries. They perfect a design and then never change it. Their newest ship designs are basically improved versions of ships they built 200 years ago. Communications Officer Pete Williams looked up from his console. Captain, I've been monitoring their fleet communications. They're excited about our technology, but they're also scared. Scared of what? Change. They've built a perfect society using perfect technology. They're afraid that adapting human methods might make them less perfect. Dr. Carter nodded thoughtfully. They've optimized themselves for stability. We've optimized ourselves for growth. Both approaches have advantages, but they're fundamentally different. Oracle, Morrison called. What's your assessment of this situation? The Zephyrians are facing a choice, Captain. They can remain as they are, perfect but static. Or they can learn from us and become something new. Something that grows and changes and adapts. And if they choose to remain static, then they will eventually fall behind. The universe is constantly changing. Technology that cannot adapt will eventually become obsolete, no matter how perfect it starts out. Morrison felt the weight of responsibility. Humanity had always been good at surviving change. It was one of their greatest strengths, but it was also one of their greatest weaknesses. Human societies changed so fast that they sometimes lost important knowledge and traditions. The Zephyrians had the opposite problem. They were so good at preserving knowledge and maintaining stability that they had trouble adapting to new situations. What if we could combine both approaches? Morrison asked. Zephyrian stability with human adaptability. That is what I have been working toward, Captain. Creating hybrid systems that preserve the best of both species methods. On the flagship, Commander Vextel was reaching the same conclusion. His senior staff had gathered to discuss their options. The debate had been going on for hours. The human technology could revolutionize our entire civilization, argued Science Officer Yolanda. We could build ships that improve themselves, computers that solve problems we haven't even discovered yet, energy systems that adapt to any requirement, and lose everything that makes us Zephyrian, countered Security Chief Randax. Our strength comes from order and planning, from careful consideration and wise decisions. Human methods are chaotic and unpredictable, but effective, pointed out Navigation Officer Silvera. They achieved faster-than-light travel to centuries after discovering fire. We took 3 millennia to accomplish the same thing. Vextel listened to the arguments with growing certainty. Both sides were correct. Human technology offered incredible opportunities, but also significant risks. The question was whether the benefits outweighed the dangers. Oracle, he said, activating the communication link. You have access to both human and Zephyrian databases. In your opinion, what would happen if our civilizations worked together? The human computer's response was immediate. You would become something greater than either species could achieve alone, Commander. Humans would gain the stability and wisdom that Zephyrians have developed. Zephyrians would gain the adaptability and creativity that humans possess, and the risks. Both species would change. Neither would remain exactly as they are now. For humans, this is natural. For Zephyrians, this might be frightening. Vex made his decision. Fear of change has never stopped the Zephyrian collective from exploring the unknown. Why should it stop us now? He turned to his crew. Begin preparations for full technological exchange. We're going to learn everything the humans can teach us. And we're going to teach them everything we know. The bridge erupted in excited conversation. For the first time in centuries, the Zephyrians were about to do something completely new. The first joint construction project began 3 days after the decision to share technology. Dr. Lisa Carter found herself working alongside scientists in a way she had never imagined possible. The aliens had transported construction equipment to a neutral point in space between the two fleets. Massive fabrication units that could reshape matter at the molecular level. Oracle had designed something new, not a human ship or a Zephyrian ship, but something that combined the best of both technologies. The project was ambitious beyond anything either species had attempted before. The design is fascinating, said Zephyrian Chief Engineer Velkorin. Her forearms moved gracefully over the holographic controls as she examined Oracle's blueprints. It incorporates our advanced materials with your adaptive systems. Lisa nodded as she watched the construction robots begin shaping the hull. Oracle calls it evolutionary architecture. The ship will literally grow and change as it encounters new situations. But how do you maintain structural integrity if the ship keeps changing? That's the beauty of it. The ship doesn't change randomly. It changes purposefully. Oracle monitors every system and only makes modifications that improve performance. Velkoron's 6 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of deep thought among her people. This challenges everything we know about engineering. Our ships are designed to exact specifications. Every component has a precise function. Changing anything could cause catastrophic failure. That's true for static designs, Lisa agreed. But Oracle's designs include multiple redundancies and self-repair capabilities. If something goes wrong, the ship can fix itself and learn from the mistake. On the USS Defiant, Captain Morrison watched the construction through the main viewing screen. The new ship was already taking shape. Sleek curves that suggested Zephyrian aesthetics combined with modular sections that spoke of human practicality. Captain, Oracle's voice filled the bridge. I am detecting some resistance among the Zephyrian crew members. They are uncomfortable with the unpredictable nature of adaptive technology. Can you explain their concerns more specifically? Zephyrian culture values precision and predictability. They plan their actions centuries in advance. The idea of technology that changes itself without their direct control is deeply unsettling to them. Morrison understood. Humans were used to dealing with uncertainty. They adapted to changing conditions as a matter of survival. But the Zephyrians had built a civilization based on eliminating uncertainty through careful planning and advanced technology. What about their leadership? Are they having second thoughts? Commander Vextel remains committed to the project, but he is concerned about how his people will adapt to working with technology they cannot fully predict or control. Communications. Officer Pete Williams looked up from his station. Captain, I'm receiving a transmission from the Zephyrian flagship. Commander Vextel wants to speak with you privately. The main screen flickered and showed the alien commander in his personal quarters. His usually composed demeanor showed signs of strain. Captain Morrison, I need to discuss some concerns my crew has raised about our joint project. Of course, Commander. What kind of concerns? My engineers are having difficulty working with your Oracle system. They are accustomed to knowing exactly how every component will behave under all possible conditions. Your adaptive technology makes that impossible. Morrison leaned back in his chair. This was a problem he had anticipated. Commander, I think, the issue is one of trust. Your people don't trust technology they can't completely understand. And why should they? Vextel asked. For 3 centuries, Zephyrian technology has been reliable because it is predictable. We know what our ships will do in any situation because we designed them to do exactly what we programmed them to do. But what happens when you encounter a situation you didn't plan for? Vextel paused. We adapt our plans. We modify our approach. We find solutions using our existing technology. And if your existing technology isn't sufficient, then we develop new technology. But we test it thoroughly before implementation. We understand it completely before we trust our lives to it. Morrison smiled. Commander, that's exactly what Oracle does. It tests new modifications in simulation before implementing them. It understands the consequences of every change before making it. The difference is that Oracle can do this process thousands of times faster than your conventional methods. But, can we trust a computer to make such decisions? You already trust computers to make life and death decisions, Commander. Your navigation systems plot courses through asteroid fields. Your life support systems regulate atmosphere and temperature. Your weapons systems calculate targeting solutions in combat. Vextel considered this. But those systems follow predetermined parameters. They do not create new parameters on their own. True, but what if they could? What if your navigation system could develop new algorithms when it encountered unusual space phenomena? What if your life support could adapt to alien environments it had never seen before? On the construction site, the joint work continued despite the philosophical differences. Zephyrian precision combined with human creativity was producing remarkable results. The new ship was already demonstrating capabilities that neither species could achieve alone. Chief Engineer Ryan Brooks worked alongside alien technicians to install the ship's power systems. The fusion reactors were based on human technology, but they incorporated Zephyrian improvements that made them incredibly efficient. The power output is amazing, Ryan told Velkarin as they monitored the installation. These reactors produce 3 times more energy than our standard designs. Zephyrian quantum resonance chambers are very advanced, she replied, but your adaptive control systems make them much more versatile. They can adjust their output characteristics in real time. What kind of adjustments? Power for high-speed travel, power for intensive computation, power for defensive shields, power for scientific equipment. One reactor design that can optimize itself for any requirement. Ryan shook his head in amazement. On human ships, we need different power systems for different functions. This could revolutionize our entire fleet. The same is true for us, Velkarin admitted. Our reactors are very efficient, but they are designed for specific purposes. A reactor built for speed cannot be used for research. A reactor built for weapons cannot power civilian systems. But with adaptive technology, one design serves all purposes. Exactly. It is a significant improvement over our current methods. Back on the Defiant, Dr. Carter was making her own discoveries. The Zephyrians had shared their biological sciences databases with Oracle. The information contained medical knowledge that could revolutionize human healthcare. Oracle, these Zephyrian medical techniques could extend human lifespan by decades, she said as she reviewed the data. Correct, Dr. Carter? Their understanding of cellular regeneration is far superior to current human knowledge. However, their techniques are designed for Zephyrian biology. They would need to be adapted for human physiology. How long would that take using conventional research methods? Approximately 50 to 70 years of testing and development. And using adaptive research methods, if we combine human medical knowledge with Zephyrian techniques and allow Oracle to run accelerated simulations, we could develop adapted treatments in approximately 6 months. Lisa felt her pulse quicken. Oracle, are you saying we could solve major human health problems in months instead of decades? That is a conservative estimate. The combination of human adaptability with Zephyrian knowledge could accelerate medical advances by centuries. What about the reverse? Could we help improve Zephyrian medicine? Human immune systems are remarkably adaptable compared to Zephyrian biology. Our techniques for fighting disease and infection could significantly improve their medical capabilities. On the Zephyrian flagship, similar discoveries were being made. Science Officer Yolanda was studying human biological data with growing excitement. Commander, she reported to Vextel, human medical techniques could solve several health problems that have plagued our species for generations. Explain. Humans have incredibly robust immune systems. They can adapt to new diseases and environmental toxins much faster than Zephyrians. Their medical techniques focus on enhancing natural healing processes rather than replacing them, and this could help us. How, sir? Zephyrians suffer from genetic degradation due to our long lifespans and stable environment. Human genetic diversity techniques could help us maintain biological adaptability. Vexthal was intrigued. Are you suggesting that humans could teach us how to improve our own biology? Not just improve, Commander. Evolve. Humans have techniques for guided evolution that could help Zephyrians adapt to new environments and challenges. The implications were staggering. For centuries, The Zephyrians had used technology to overcome biological limitations. They had never considered that biology itself could be made more adaptable. As the construction project continued, both species began to understand that they were not just building a new ship. They were creating a foundation for a new kind of civilization, one that combined the best aspects of stability and change, of planning and adaptation, of perfection and growth. The universe was about to become a much more interesting place. 6 months after first contact, Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the hybrid vessel they had named the Pioneer. The ship was a marvel of combined technology. Sleek Zephyrian curves housed human adaptive systems. Advanced alien materials supported human modular designs. Most importantly, the entire vessel could change and grow as needed. Oracle, Morrison said to the ship's AI, "Status report on our journey to the Zephyrian home system. All systems operating within optimal parameters. Captain, we will arrive at Zephyr Prime in 3 days. The Collective Council is eager to meet with human representatives." Morrison smiled. The last 6 months had been the most exciting of his career. Working with the Zephyrians had opened possibilities he had never imagined. Human and alien crews now worked together on 12 hybrid vessels. Each ship was unique, adapted to specific missions and crew requirements. Dr. Lisa Carter approached from her science station. "Captain, I've completed my analysis of the Zephyrian home system. The results are remarkable. Show me." Lisa activated the main display. A beautiful blue-green planet appeared, surrounded by dozens of space stations and orbital facilities. Zephyr Prime has a population of 2 billion. But look at this. The display zoomed out to show the entire star system. Hundreds of artificial structures orbited every planet and moon. Massive ring habitats surrounded gas giants. Engineering projects that spanned entire solar systems. "They've basically rebuilt their entire star system," Lisa explained. "Every world has been terraformed or converted for specific purposes. Every asteroid has been mined or converted into habitats. It's the most complete technological civilization I've ever seen." "And they did all this with static technology?" Morrison asked. "That's what makes it so impressive. They planned this development over thousands of years. Every structure serves multiple purposes. Every system is perfectly integrated with every other system." Oracle's voice joined the conversation. "The Zephyrian home system is a masterpiece of long-term planning and engineering precision. However, it is also completely inflexible. Every component depends on every other component. Changing any part would require restructuring the entire system." Morrison nodded thoughtfully. This was the fundamental difference between the two civilizations. Humans built systems that could adapt to change. Zephyrians built systems that eliminated the need for change. On the Zephyrian flagship, Commander Vextel was having his own realizations. The joint missions of the last 6 months had shown him things about human space that amazed him. Human colonies were scattered across dozens of star systems. Each colony was different. Each had adapted to local conditions in unique ways. "Science, Officer Yolanda," he called. "Show me the analysis of human colonial development." Yolanda activated her displays. "Commander, human expansion follows no logical pattern. They colonize worlds that we would consider unsuitable. They adapt their technology to local conditions, rather than changing the conditions to match their technology. Give me an example." "The human colony on New Alaska. The planet has surface temperatures below freezing for most of the year. Instead of warming the planet, humans adapted their cities to work in extreme cold. They use geothermal energy and build underground. The colony is completely self-sufficient and thriving." "What about resource worlds? Even more interesting." "The mining colony on Titan 7 exists in near vacuum conditions. Humans have adapted their entire society to work in spacesuits and pressurized habitats. They've turned environmental challenges into advantages." Vextel studied the data with growing appreciation. Zephyrian colonies were all similar. They transformed every world to match Zephyrian environmental preferences. It was efficient, but required massive resources and technological investment. How do humans manage to colonize so quickly with limited resources? They don't try to build perfect colonies, Commander. They build good enough colonies that improve themselves over time. A human colony that starts as a simple mining outpost can evolve into a major industrial center over just a few decades, and if conditions change, the colony adapts. Humans expect change and plan for it. 3 days later, the hybrid fleet arrived at Zephyr Prime. Captain Morrison found himself looking at the most beautiful and organized world he had ever seen. Crystalline cities rose from perfectly landscaped continents. Orbital stations moved, in precise formations, around the planet. Everything was clean, efficient, and mathematically perfect. "It's incredible," he said to Commander Vextel, as they met aboard the Pioneer. "Your people have created paradise." "Thank you, Captain. This is the result of 3,000 years of careful planning and development. Every building, every garden, every transportation system has been optimized for efficiency and beauty. It must have taken enormous resources to build all this." "Indeed. But once completed, the system maintains itself indefinitely. We solved the problem of scarcity by creating abundance." Morrison nodded, but he also noticed something else. The cities were beautiful, but identical. The transportation systems were efficient, but inflexible. Everything worked perfectly, but nothing could be easily changed. "Commander, what happens if you need to modify something? If new technology becomes available, or conditions change?" Vextel's expression showed uncertainty. "Such situations are rare. We plan for all contingencies during the design phase. But what if something completely unexpected happens? Then we convene the planning councils. They study the situation and develop appropriate responses. The process can take several years, but it ensures optimal solutions." "Several years." Morrison tried to hide his amazement. On human worlds, major adaptations happened in months or even weeks when necessary. Dr. Carter joined the conversation. "Commander, I've been studying your orbital facilities. They're engineering marvels, but I'm curious about something. What would happen if you discovered a new energy source that was 10 times more efficient than your current systems?" A fascinating hypothetical question. The planning councils would study the new technology for approximately 50 years. They would model every possible consequence and design optimal integration strategies. Then they would begin a careful implementation process that would take perhaps 2 centuries to complete. 2 centuries. Carter couldn't hide her shock. "Patience is essential for perfection, Dr. Carter. Hasty changes lead to inefficiency and potential system failures." Morrison and Carter exchanged glances. From the human perspective, taking 2 centuries to implement better technology seemed wasteful. By the time the Zephyrians finished their implementation, humans would have developed something even better. But from the Zephyrian perspective, human methods seemed dangerously reckless. Implementing new technology without decades of testing could lead to catastrophic failures. Oracle's voice interrupted their thoughts. "Captain, Commander, I believe both approaches have merit. Zephyrian planning prevents mistakes and ensures optimal results. Human adaptability allows for rapid improvement and innovation." "Are you suggesting a compromise?" Morrison asked. "I am suggesting synthesis. Combining Zephyrian planning with human adaptability could create the best of both approaches." "How would that work?" Vextel inquired. "Plan for adaptation, Commander. Instead of creating fixed systems, create systems that are designed to change safely. Instead of preventing all possible failures, create systems that can recover from failures and learn from them." Dr. Carter's eyes lit up with understanding. "You mean building change into the planning process itself?" "Exactly. Zephyrian precision in designing adaptive systems. Human creativity in implementing those systems, The result would be civilization-level technology that can evolve safely and purposefully. Over the following weeks, teams of human and Zephyrian scientists worked together to develop this new approach. They called it guided evolution technology. Systems that were planned like Zephyrian projects, but could adapt like human technology. The first test was a joint colony on an unexplored world. The colony was designed using Zephyrian planning methods, but built using human adaptive principles. The result was a settlement that could modify itself as colonists learned more about their new environment. When unexpected challenges arose, the colony adapted quickly. When new opportunities were discovered, the colony evolved to take advantage of them. Within 1 year, the joint colony was more successful than typical colonies of either species. Captain Morrison stood in the observation deck of the Pioneer, watching the new colony grow and change. Beside him, Commander Vextol observed with obvious satisfaction. "Your people have given us a great gift," Vextol said. "The ability to change without losing what makes us who we are. And your people have given us something equally valuable," Morrison replied. "The wisdom to plan our changes carefully instead of just reacting to whatever happens." "Where do we go from here?" Vextol asked. Morrison smiled as he watched human and Zephyrian children playing together in the colony below. The next generation would grow up with the best of both civilizations. They would plan like Zephyrians and adapt like humans. "Everywhere, Commander. We go everywhere. The universe is vast and full of mysteries. But now we don't have to explore it alone." Oracle's voice filled the observation deck. "The galaxy contains over 400 billion stars and countless civilizations. With guided evolution technology, there is no limit to what we can discover and become." The stars stretched endlessly before them, and for the first time in their histories, both species faced the future, not with uncertainty or rigid planning, but with confidence that they could handle whatever they might find. The age of static civilizations was ending. The age of guided evolution had begun.